What do you want to be when you grow up?
Today, I woke up in New York City and caught myself asking, did I really make it? I've chased this dream for years, but now that I'm here, the truth is, I feel a little lost. So I wrote a letter to my 16 years old self, and what poured out changed everything. This video is a story of how my life changed from there to here and how I found my spark again. Everything started back in 2018 when I was 16 years old during my freshman summer in high school. Growing up in a small village in Vietnam, like most of my peers, my childhood dream was simple. Study hard, get into a good university in Hanoi, leave my hometown and start an independent life of adulthood. At that time, I was comfortable in this plan. I performed well in school, followed the path laid out for me, and never once questioned it. For me and everyone around me, it was the only path. Until my first summer in high school, everything shifted. My brother came home with a stack of books and told me to pick a few. Honestly, I wasn't much of a reader. I thought reading was such a cool hobby, just not for me. Still, I picked a couple and brought them to my room. The first book I read was Morning Tawny on the Runway. To me, it wasn't a traditional self-help book, but it was more like a collection of life stories, told in such a cozy way. Like an uncle who's always traveling, and whenever he comes home, he sits down and shares the most random yet meaningful stories from his adventures. I found myself completely drawn in, and before I knew it, I had finished the whole book. And there was this one chapter. The author mentioned how easy the SAT math test in the US was compared to what we study in Vietnam, and how college applications there evaluate a person from multiple perspectives, not just exam scores, but also essays and personal stories. Oh, interesting, I thought to myself, and I wonder what was this SAT exam and how easy it could be. That line stuck with me. I didn't act on it immediately, but as if destiny was listening, YouTube recommended me a video. It was about a Vietnamese student studying in the US with a humble financial background. I clicked on it out of curiosity. That was the first time I learned about the concept of studying abroad on full scholarships. He explained how he's managed his expense at a low cost, such as working part-time on campus, using old textbooks, you name it. And this newly discovered idea actually fascinated me and lingered on my mind. No longer after, one day, I was in the car with my mom and my older brother. My brother casually shared a story about a friend who went to study abroad in Australia. With the book and the video still fresh in my mind, I lit up and excitedly told them about the guy that I just saw online and the possibility of staying in the US with scholarships. That moment, I turned to my mom and asked, "Mom, should I give it a try?" And just like that, my sophomore year took a completely different direction. While my classmates focused on the national graduation exam, I embarked on a life-changing journey out of my comfort zone. I took the bus to Hanoi regularly, carrying a secret dream that maybe, just maybe, the driver would take me all the way to the US one day. At that time, nobody really understood what I was doing. All I had was myself. I went online, reading articles, watching videos, and even scrolling through every single comment to collect information. You probably can't imagine the number of videos and articles I've gone through. I mapped out a plan. In just 1 year, I would prepare my entire application. Okay, so what I had to do first? Yes, you gotta learn English first one. Since my hometown didn't offer TOEFL classes, the official test for non-native speaker for US college application, I picked a random academy in Hanoi, the capital city, which is an hour and 30 minutes from my hometown. I remember the first day I came there, they made me do a sample test to test my level. I was confident, but it didn't last. I quit midway and told them it was too hard. Then they handed me another English test, the IELTS test. The result was the same. I couldn't finish it and they advised me to take maybe a foundation course first. So just like that, I started commuting every other day after high school to Hanoi. My mom supported me as much as she could, like she packed lunchboxes so I could eat quickly before class. My dad also waited at the last bus stop at 10 p.m. to make sure that I got home safe. It might sound intense for a 16-year-old girl, but honestly, I enjoyed it. Those bus rides became my quiet moments, staring out the window, watching city life, and reviewing lessons in my head. Looking back now, I'm still amazed at the passion that drove me. After finishing the foundation course, I self-studied at home for a few months before taking another intense course hoping to raise my IELTS score. Along with that, I started preparing for the SAT test. Not to my surprise, SAT math was actually effortless. I had to agree with the author, but I was really struggling with the reading part as it depends a lot on my English level and reading skills. At the time I started in August 2019, I had 4 months left before the application period. I remember telling a teacher at my English academy about my goal of raising my SAT score from 1128 to 1400 in just 4 months. At that point, I hadn't even started SAT prep yet. He laughed and said it was impossible. I didn't really take it was too hard. Instead, I told my SAT mentor later on, I will make this happen at all costs. I also got 50% off to join a mentoring group at my academy after I interviewed for their scholarship. I was in the group with 3 other mentees. I gotta say that their profile was super cool. One already took the IELTS last year with 8.5 score and one had almost perfect SAT score. On the other side, I hadn't even taken any exam at the time and I had 4 months left to finish everything. But I knew from my heart that comparing myself to others would mean that I disrespected my effort. So I took it as a motivation to push harder. Another challenge came when I started a cultural project to preserve the Dongho fort paintings in my village. My mentor suggested inviting other mentees to join, but no one was interested. I understood and tried to find another way. I pitched my project to my high school classmate. To my surprise, they were super excited, and together we created something beautiful. Not just preserving our cultural heritage, but also building a lifelong friendship throughout this shared project. We were 8 people together. We traveled to my village, interviewing the artisans, filming and posting videos on Facebook. We also curated articles and learned so much about traditional paintings. It was the most memorable time in high school to me and my friends. In the end, I scored 7th on IELTS and 1400 on SAT. Within 1 year, I had completed all my applications. The scores weren't perfect compared to what you see online, but to me, they were perfect. In December 2019, I applied to a couple of schools for early action as a trial. I got into most of them, but the scholarship wasn't enough. Then in January 2020, I applied to 10 more schools during regular decision, mostly liberal arts colleges. It was my best bet to earn a full scholarship. Right after that, I pulled all my attention back to the national exam happening in June that same year while waiting for the decision from the US. Those 3 months of waiting was tough, one after one. Either I got rejected or waitlisted or not enough financial aid. Sometimes I felt hopeless. Then one day, I was literally in the bathroom when the email arrived. Yes, that moment that you're thinking about. My heart raced as I opened the letter. The first words, "Congratulations, Von Nguyen!" I screamed but quickly held it back because I needed to see the most important part, the scholarship. I opened the second letter, scanned the numbers, and realized it was even more than what I expected. $245,000 in scholarships, which would cover all tuition and a little bit of other fees. In 1 year, my dream had come true, and that was a leap that changed my entire life. Looking back, it still feels surreal. For a while, I forgot how cool that story really was. I forgot the passion that carried me through that year. Yes, I took every opportunity afterward. I went to 3 more study abroad programs through my home school in Indonesia, South Korea, and the Netherlands recently. But deep down, I long to feel that same fire again. Now I've completed my first dream of coming to the US, graduated, and moved to New York City to start a new chapter. There have been ups and downs, many moments of feeling lost and directionless, but I always held on to hope that one day I would find that pure passion again. And just yesterday, it happened. I wrote a letter to my 16 years old self. At first, it was just meant to be a sweet note, but it turned into 8 full pages. Pages of guilt, of gratitude, of realization. I wrote about how I almost wasted her effort, how I lost her spark, how I took her for granted. I've been wandering for the past 2 years, doing things I used to love, but feel nothing, just emptiness. I kept waiting for a meaning to return. I kept waiting to feel that spark again, like I did when I was 16. But today I realized something. Maybe the point is not to wait, but to let go. To let go of the version of me who is still searching for answers. I spent so long wondering, what is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of what I'm doing right now? And now I see. Maybe the meaning is not in finding the right answer. Maybe our purpose is to ask a better question, because answers already exist. But questions are invitation. So instead of asking, what is my purpose? I'm now asking, what am I willing to dare myself to become next? Writing that letter, I felt her fire again. I felt myself again. Can I call it an awakening moment? Maybe, but it came so unexpectedly, through something so simple. I realized what still drives me today, my voice, my need to be heard, my desire to inspire. So here I am, sharing this story with you, hoping it's touched you even just a little. And if you know, this year marks the end of a 9-year cycle. Next year, we'll enter a new one with a new mindset, new vision, and new goals. And I want you to join me. As a reader in my You Dare series, I made something for us. It is an exclusive guided workbook called Dear Younger Me, a letter and life reset experience. It's not about fixing yourself. It's about sitting with your old self, releasing what no longer belongs to your story, and marking the day your new cycle begins. Inside, you'll write your goodbye to old patterns, thank the version of you that survived, and sign your own birth of a new chapter. If something in you is quietly asking for a reset, this is your sign. Don't just watch me change. Start writing your own first page. And another note for people who are interested in studying abroad or feeling lost in the whole college application process, I made a dedicated Instagram just for that. It's called Cloudee. I'll be sharing all information about college application, essay prep framework, and I will open limited spots soon for personal essay review and guidance. So if you want first access, make sure to follow Cloudee. That's where everything will drop first. So see you guys in the next video. Bye!